It's no surprise to anybody in this chamber that the Welsh Conservatives are opposed to the progress of this bill. Well, there are some elements of the bill that we can welcome, such as 4-year terms. We appreciate that. And a requirement for candidates for election to the Senedd to live in Wales. We cannot countenance supporting proposals to increase the size of this Senedd and make significant changes to the voting system at Senedd elections without the express consent of the people of Wales. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Wales needs more doctors, dentists, nurses and teachers, not more politicians. And we need a Welsh Government that is focused on addressing the people's priorities, not the priorities of the political establishment. We need you to get to grips, frankly, with the mess in our National Health Service, the state of our schools, and the fact that our pay packets are lighter in Wales than they are elsewhere in the UK. You know, the reality is there is no mandate whatsoever to deliver this set of proposals before you. And the overwhelming majority of people in Wales do not support an increase in the size of the Senedd. Now, I know that Labour and Plaid MSs have claimed that there's a public mandate for the proposed changes. They say that because they referred to Senedd reform in their manifestos, that means they can take this agenda forward. But I've checked both of your manifestos. There's nothing in there about 36 extra members of the Senedd. There was nothing in there about scrapping the first-past-the-post system and replacing it with a closed list system. Nothing at all in either of your manifestos. Let me tell you, I read them thoroughly. Put me to sleep very easily, but I read them. So the fact that you keep claiming that there is a public mandate is a load, frankly, of hogwash. What we need to do is ensure that we deliver on people's priorities, not this mess. And it is a power grab, everybody, by political parties. You're taking power out of the hands of individual people, the voters around this country, who at the moment can express a view as to an individual named candidate on a ballot paper, and you're giving that power instead to political party leadership. And that is the wrong way to go. It is bad for democracy, and it will sever the direct accountability of members of this institution to the public that we serve. That's a retrograde step. And I heard what you said, Counsel General, about this being some sort of great march forward for scrutiny in this Senedd. And this is coming from a government that rode roughshod over this Senedd in introducing this bill in the first place. There was a Senedd Reform Committee established to look and consider this matter in detail, and you basically, as a Welsh Government, or rather should I say the First Minister and the former leader of Plaid Cymru, issued it with instructions and told it what the report should conclude. I mean, that is the state of the party that, you know, preaches moral high ground about the need for better scrutiny and then ditches the committees that want to do the scrutiny and make recommendations to you. So we won't take any of that hypocrisy. So there isn't a mandate. I hope that you will accept that, Counsel General. This is a power grab by political parties. It will not deliver a more representative Senedd, as you claim in your statement, because, as you know, the threshold for getting elected into this Senedd is going to increase. It's going to increase from the roughly 6.5% for regional list candidates at the moment to around 12% in the future. So how is that chiming with your claims that this is going to make a more representative Senedd? The reality is it won't make a more representative Senedd, and I hope that you will accept that fact. It's also, of course, a very expensive programme. I know you keep bleating on about, you know, £120 million over 8 years being a, small fraction of the expenditure of this institution here in Wales, and it might well be a small fraction, but 120 million quid's enough to build a couple of hospitals or a couple of schools that people are crying out for in their communities and that are currently being denied, in spite of the fact you've made promises to deliver them in some places, especially in North Wales. And that is where the public want to see this money spent. They want to see it spent on our public services. And it adds insult to injury, frankly, that over the summer we've seen the First Minister, we've seen the Finance Minister, we've seen the Health Minister threatening to cut public service budgets, threatening to cut the budgets for our hospitals and our schools, saying that there's no more money, and yet they find £120 million behind the back of the sofa to fund this sort of ridiculous proposal for a job creation scheme for members of the Senedd. Well, it's not good enough. We won't be supporting it, and I urge you to reconsider the situation in the future.